2, 1. Okay, so welcome to this video. I wanted to make this because when I started making teaching videos in general, it took me a little bit of time to try to get to the point where I felt comfortable, and it didn't take me a huge amount of time to try to set it up and then try to edit and post. So I'm going to go through numerous steps in here to try to maybe help you if you're a teacher or a professor or an instructor, or maybe you're just making YouTube videos in general to try to help people in somewhere out there, or maybe make them smile. Now, the steps that I will go through are kind of listed there on the screen that you see. So I'm going to show you kind of the connecting the equipment, which will be a very short one. I am assuming that basically what I will use for hardware is 2 Apple products. So either I have a laptop, so some kind of a Mac, or basically maybe you have a standstill Mac, so an actual Mac which is standing on your desk. And then the other tool is an iPad. Now my iPad is a few years old, so it's not the newest one. It will do. And of course I need the connection between my iPad and my computer. Okay, so whichever one that you will utilize. Now you can also AirPlay between the iPad and the Mac if you want to just know how to do that on its own. I'll put up a link, okay, so I guess somewhere over there up on top, because I made a video on how to do that if you don't want to be connecting directly through a cable, but I do recommend it because the connections are much more stable. All right. After that, I will do kind of the software that I use, and once you kind of invest in a Mac or an iPad, you spend probably more than enough. You don't need to purchase any special software, so I'll show you which software that I use. It's pretty much preloaded into a Mac, and the only other tool software that I'll have is an extra one, and that will be actually Zoom, and you'll see how I use that. Now, step number 3, okay, so kind of how to display the iPad and camera so that you have it on your screen and so that you're going to be able to try to record it. Okay, and I'll show you setting up my entire screen, so kind of what you see right here and in many of my other videos. I'll show you how to do that in a simple way without actually utilizing anything special. It's just kind of adjusting things on the screen. I'll show you how to record. So, which software I use for that. And then we'll get into kind of editing. So I'll try to maybe even edit this particular video to try to show you what to do. And then posting it onto kind of YouTube. And I'm assuming that you have a YouTube channel already maybe, and you just want to be able to post. All right. So I'll put timestamps on this video so you can go down to the show notes if you want to get to a particular step. Or any of the comments that I make. So my ultimate goal with all the videos that I make is actually what you see there, which is on 1mjourney.com. And maybe I'll put up a little kind of a preview here. And basically my interest is just to try to share with others and help them learn something along the way. And I have a huge bias because I do love math, so I put up some math videos. But there are many wonderful math videos that are out there as well, and I'm just trying to complement and then maybe learn along the way. So I hope that you will find this useful. All right, so let's get to step number 1. Okay, so step number 1 so here's my iPad that I have. I'm going to kind of flip it over in here. I do have the pencil, but that's depending on what kind of videos you use. Because I do love teaching through kind of going through examples. So I like writing on the iPad, and that's kind of one of the major benefits of that. So that's the tools. Okay. And now in terms of anything else, so you can use your MacBook. All right. So you can use one of these, or you can use a regular Mac directly. And, don't forget, take your cable that you have so that you can connect it, just like charging in. So some kind of a USB that you will have. And I'm going to connect this thing right in. Okay, so that's the only hardware that I have. So I'm just connecting it directly so that I am, connected to my Mac now. All right, and then I'm just going to place it there. So that is it, okay, in terms of step number 1. All right. All right, so step number 2 is basically which software do I use. So you'll notice that I kind of updated on the side there. So the software that I use is QuickTime, Photo Booth, and then iMovie for editing. All of those 3 basically come preloaded on your Mac. And then the last one, which is now extremely popular, is Zoom, which is basically free, and I'll show you how to use that. You don't have to actually use it as a meeting. You can actually use it to display your iPad. All right, so I'll show you how to do that. Now, where do you find these? So just in case you're unsure. So what I'll do is, okay, so if I kind of made these really big here so that you can see it, and now I have them all within my dock here, but if you don't have them preloaded, so then you'll find them under applications. So when you go into your applications, you can scroll within down. So notice here is Photo Booth. I basically dragged it onto my dock. So I have Photo Booth right here. And that's actually what you are seeing me on right now. So the image which is coming on the screen, so my image, so this one, is basically through Photo Booth. So that's one of them. Then QuickTime is the other one. If you've never used QuickTime, it's an amazing tool for recording because it allows you to screen record, and it also allows to capture your voice. And so that's what I use for that. Then the iMovie, okay, so you can, sometimes iMovie is actually not kind of preloaded within here, so you can go and download it from the App Store. It's free for your Mac. Okay, so sometimes they might not have it preloaded. So if any of them are not preloaded, you can go and then just reload them up in case you maybe deleted them by mistake at some point. And then of course Zoom, I do encourage you to try to download that as well. And as I said, so Zoom is now relatively popular. Okay, so you can download that from, and I have it downloaded within here and preloaded, okay, onto, so here's my Zoom that I utilize. So that is basically the only kind of software that I use to create my videos. Okay, so now let's move over to step number 3, which is actually how do you display your cameras, and then how do you display the actual iPad so that you can teach through it. All right, so I'll show you how to do that in the next step. All right, so welcome to step number 3. Now you don't see me on the screen, and that's made on purpose because I just want to show you how I actually get my camera view so that people can see me. Now the cameras, when I started off, I just used the regular Mac camera, so the web camera that comes hardwired into your Mac. Okay, so you can use that one, and then later on, if you like, you can purchase a little bit better one. And so that one, I'm not going to talk about that because I want to try to kind of just keep it towards all the things that come for free and that you don't have to spend any further money. If you are interested, you can ask me in the comments, and then maybe in the future I'll make another video on the camera and then maybe the microphone that I use. But the regular audio that you get and then the actual camera that you have hardwired into your Mac is good enough. Okay, so to first your camera view, just so that you can see me. So I'm going to use Photo Booth. So I'm going to just open Photo Booth, as you can see here. So I'm back, and notice that, so what you can see the entire me now as it is. And I'm going to just show you how, what I do, okay, so that it looks a little bit better. And so there is the actual step-by-step, and then there's a little logo that I have. And that's the Photo Booth. Now, the Photo Booth doesn't have to be this big. So you can adjust it. So I can adjust it within here. So notice that. You can shift it around anywhere you like. So whatever it is that you want to do, you can shift it so that maybe you're not centralized. But since I'm talking to you, I guess at the moment, so I am centralized, I guess. So we have that. So that's my photo booth. Now, photo booth is actually also kind of neat because you have certain effects, okay, within here. And sometimes I play with students and, you make funny things, so then they can just smile. For example, you can become a chipmunk like this. And so that's pretty neat, and then they like it. So, or you can do some other funky stuff and to yourself, like this. So, so sometimes it's pretty neat to use photo booth, and I'll let you play around with that. Okay, I'm gonna kind of go back to my regular self, so my normal. You can use any of these that you prefer, of course. Sometimes I'll go sepia or black and white, okay, because it looks kind of neat. Okay, but here I am back. So that's photo booth for you. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is, how do you actually take your iPad and be able to display it, right? So, because we want to be able to teach through this thing. And I mean, this is great as you're making a video already, probably will give you some ideas, but what if now you wanted to be able to display your iPad? So I'm going to show you that, all right? And then, okay, so in order to do that, what I do is, so here is, I'm going to go to Zoom. Now, you can actually display your iPad through QuickTime if you wanted to. The only reason why I don't do that is because I use QuickTime for recording. So you can't do two things at a time with QuickTime. And so what I do is, I love the way that Zoom actually allows to display your iPad. Now, if you want to learn a little bit about QuickTime, I did make a video on displaying and then kind of going over some issues if people can't connect through QuickTime. I'll put that up there, okay, for anyone interested. But within here, I do utilize Zoom. It's kind of my go-to at the moment. And I don't set it up within a meeting. So I have basically an account, which is a separate account that I don't really share with anybody else, so that nobody joins me on the meeting through Zoom. So here is Zoom, it's loaded up. Now I start a new meeting, and basically, so within here, I mean, you can use the cameras through Zoom, but I have everything shut off in here. And again, so this is a separate account I use, kind of a dummy account for myself, so that nobody joins me ever on the meetings when I am doing my recordings. And now if I want to be able to screen, and so here at the bottom, so I'm going to, so let me just kind of move it up a little bit so that you can see it. So my share screen, so if you hit share screen, okay, within here, notice pretty much anything you want, you can share in Zoom. And what I like to use is, I have my iPad connected already, so my iPad is connected within. And here, notice iPhone or iPad via cable. So you can also connect your phone if you wanted to. So I'm going to share my iPad, and notice this is going to be pretty neat that you can do that. Now, if you wanted to, you can also just share a whiteboard if you just want to be able to draw and maybe you don't have an iPad to make your videos. So you can kind of be creative, using the whiteboard. You can also AirPlay, if maybe you lost your connection in some way, you don't have the hardware for that for whatever reason. I don't recommend the AirPlay as much when you're making videos because the cable is much more stable. All right. So if you're right near it, unless maybe you want to get up and you're a little bit further from your Mac and you don't have a long enough cable, then you can use the AirPlay. So here is how I share. So notice it takes a few moments. And now, so this is beautiful. I have my entire iPad. All right. And now for this iPad, as it comes up, okay, in the next step, I'm going to show you how I now set up my actual screen with this. So far so good. It probably has given you quite a lot of ideas. Let me close this down. All right, so I'll close all of this down. And now let's move over to the next step. All right, so actually setting up the screen how we want it. All right, and I'll kind of go from a blank slate. So step number 4, again, so you don't see me here on the right hand side, you just basically see an open document, okay, so with all the different steps. So I kind of want to show you also behind the scenes, how I hide certain headers and things like that when I make the video, so it looks a little bit more, not necessarily professional. I don't think I'm a professional, but it maybe looks a little bit cleaner. So in step number 4, how do I set up my screen? So the first thing that I do, so you obviously know now how to connect, which software I use. So now I'm going to go through the whole setup of my screen, and you can readjust and set up your screen how you like for your videos. So the first thing that I always do is, okay, so I go back to Zoom, and so I'm going to open up Zoom within here. So open a new meeting, and because I want to get a hold of my actual iPad. Now, so within here, okay, so what I have is, okay, so I'm going to connect it through the cable. So I'm going to share it. So I'll wait a few moments, okay, so before it actually starts to share. And now, okay, so what you see is I'm recording my entire screen. I'll show you how I cut things off a little bit later when I use QuickTime. So within here, so now I basically try to adjust, okay, so I adjust this entire thing. So now you can make this as large as you want, okay, or as small as you want, so depending on what you want. Now I like to kind of make it almost kind of entire screen. I leave myself a little bit blank. Now Zoom, the unfortunate part is sometimes you can't actually span it up. You can do this, but on the sides you'll see the black. That's okay for me because what I like is I kind of make it as big as I can on my screen, and then you will see what I do next. Okay, so here, for example, I'm gonna kind of maybe open up, this is Notability. I'm not gonna make a video Notability here, but notice this is what I use to actually create my lectures, right? So, hi, all right, okay, and I'm just writing out and you can see it. So it's beautiful because you can share those kind of videos. Now, that's not what I'm interested in here on the software that I use for actually making the lectures themselves, or sometimes the teaching itself. If someone's interested, maybe put it in the comments, and maybe in the future I'll make a video on that. But I've made so many videos already that you can see on my channel using this setup exactly, so you can see and get an idea of what is possible. So within here, I just want to show you how to create your videos. So now that I have Zoom all running, and so I obviously, you don't have to, like notice, for example, Khan Academy and many others, they don't really have a camera. But I have found that anyone who's learning, and for example, even myself, I actually kind of like seeing the person talking. Not that they're taking up the whole screen, but they are, talking, and maybe there's a small image of them somewhere so that I can follow them, their expressions and things like that. So that's the reason why I set up Photo Booth. So now here's my photo booth. Now you have seen this with me already. Now I scale it down, and what I do is I actually kind of rescale. I put myself here in the corner, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I don't want to make it too big. All right, so you can do that. You can put it, you can put these anywhere you like. I can shift this. If you like this on the right hand side, you can do that. Okay, whatever it is that you want. And so here, let me bring this back up. So I'm going to shift this over to the corner. You can shift it to wherever you like. And I kind of like to put it kind of on the right hand side. Now, because I don't like seeing these headers in my videos, so notice if I put Zoom in the front, it will cut off that header, right? So now it's a little bit nicer. And now, okay, so for my videos, you can, so for instance, within here, I can readjust this ever so slightly so that I can bring up my video within here. Okay, so for example, this might be brought up in this way, and I'll shift this kind of to the right, and now notice that it looks much cleaner, right? So you have a nice kind of beautiful setup. Here you are, now you can go ahead and, if you're doing math, okay, you can do your drawings, 2 + 3 = 8. Okay, so you can do all of these different things, but the key idea is, how do you make it look so neat? Now I still have all of these setups here, right? So like I have these headers here, I have this header here, like how do I maybe clean all of that up? So another thing that I want to show you is, for instance, I had a logo. I'm going to minimize this, all right? So my logo, actually I made in just an editing tool, okay? And I made an image of it. So that image, okay, so I just didn't use anything special. And here is on the top right hand, okay, you see that. I'm gonna open this up. So this is just opens, notice a PNG file. It doesn't have to be JPEG or anything. So I just wrote this out. This is kind of my logo. And what I like to do is I put it in here. I rescale it. Okay, so I kind of rescale it. Kind of looks like that. All right, and now notice, now I can have a logo in my video as well, and it's continuously running, and it's just above me. Now I don't like this space here, right? Like notice, so here's some videos which these are the videos that are part of the video that you're watching, okay, which we're gonna edit later. And then I have some other stuff in here. So notice I even have a subscribe kind of image that I made myself. So you can add that. I typically add this one to my editing, okay, when I do the videos. So I'm not going to put it within here because it's just typically at the beginning of the video. And then I don't want to see this. So what I made is I just made a black image. Like literally you can make it white or you can make it any color. And so I just made that image, okay, within here. And so that might give you some ideas because I don't want to see this, right? Okay, and notice that within here I have these headers. I don't want to see those headers either. So what I do is I kind of take this image and then I rescale it. I'm only rescaling it up to here because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off when I am actually recording, and I'm going to cut off the bottom so that you see a nice clean image. And now that is actually kind of my setup. You can do any setup that you want, but I hope this gives you some ideas of kind of what to do. All right. So next, okay, let's move over to how do we actually screen record, okay, kind of what you are watching at the moment. So I'll show you that. All right, so now we're on step 5. So what you actually see is basically the screen that I'm going to be recording. So how do I get there? So I showed you, that you can use QuickTime. So, you will go and open QuickTime and, so you'll see the images there. Let me just minimize this so that you can see me as well now. So hi. And so right here, I'm going to be kind of putting in pictures to try to show you the steps because I am using QuickTime, so I can't use them simultaneously, so it's a little bit harder to show you, so I've just kind of captured images. So open QuickTime, and then on QuickTime, you're gonna see that there is a screen recording, so you're gonna hit that screen recording. Once you hit the screen recording, you'll notice that there's going to be a selection that you will get on the screen that you want to be able to record. So now adjust that screen to whatever it is that you like. I have adjusted it in such a way so that you only see, for example, me, you see the screen right here that I write on, and you see nothing else. You don't see any headers, so it looks like a very nice, clean screen. So I want to show you now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and reselect, for example, the entire screen, how it looks like, and then you'll see a comparison. So you can adjust that screen however it is that you like in QuickTime. So let me do that for you. And okay, so what you have is now the entire screen. So I basically just took a capture of the whole entire screen within, and notice you see all the headers. And so there's a big difference. If I want to hide away those headers, I just simply select on what I want, so that when I'm making the video, you'll only see that. So just adjust that in QuickTime. All right, so now the other thing that I want to show you, okay, so you're going to see that, okay, right here, is basically what the options are. Now, when you're going in, you hit, just before you hit record, that you'll run into kind of options, maybe click that option so it opens up for you so that this is what you see. Now, obviously, this is from my QuickTime. And then so you can select where you want to save to, if that matters for you. That's basically where QuickTime is going to be saving the actual videos. Then the other thing is that you have a timer there. Now the timer just simply means, it'll do a countdown before it starts a video. I don't really put a timer in because I edit the beginning anyways. You can put a timer if you want. Then the microphone, if you want to have a microphone on or not, you can select the one which is built in if you don't have any other ones. I do have some other options, so it just depends on what you have. And then finally, so the last one, kind of options, if you want. So I like to click that remember, especially, remember last selection. I like to click that one on just so that I don't have to keep going and checking the options every single time. So it just remembers what I have done in the past. All right, and then just hit record and off you go. All right, so now you know how to set up an actual video, okay? Let's go to the next step. All right, so step number 6. In this one, we're gonna try to edit the video, and I'll show you, basically this entire video that I'm making right now, how to edit the entire thing. All right, and then we're gonna be posting it up to YouTube. Now I'm gonna edit it up to the point where I guess it's up to this step, and then, I think you'll get the idea. My kind of premise for this is just to show you that you can certainly do it, and it's not beyond you. Now it will take you a lot of time when you're just starting these videos. So let's take a look. So I'm going to open up first iMovie. Okay, so we're going to do that. That's one of the first steps that we'll do. And actually, before I open iMovie, let me reduce all of this stuff. Okay, I'm going to kind of hide this away. And notice that I have all of these videos on the right hand side. When I was using QuickTime, I was literally just saving everything to the desktop. So I just like to do that. And now as you see the screen here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all my videos. So now these are all the videos that I did up to this point. And what I'm also going to do is, I guess I'm going to add this one, and I think this one. I think this one I just kind of botched, so I'm not going to add that one. But you will add whichever ones that you want that you're going to be able to edit in iMovie. So how do you add it to iMovie? Well, my first thing is, so what I do is I basically, right click, and then I will share it, and I put it all into Photos. Now the reason for doing that is because iMovie can just directly take out of Photos. So I'm going to add all of these into Photos. Okay, so now it's been added to Photos, and now I'm going to open my iMovie. Okay, so let me do that. And just so that you can also see me, okay, let me reduce myself here. I'll put myself in the corner in case you want to just kind of see me talking away through this. And so here is, so iMovie, I'm going to just wait for it until it opens. And yes, in the meantime, I can shift this back out. All right, so iMovie opened for me. Okay, so here's iMovie, and here's one of my videos that I was making before. So I'm going to actually go back in here. So here's my iMovie, my entire thing. Now, for this iMovie, okay, so that I have, now obviously these are some of the ones that I made. I'm going to create new, and we're going to create a movie. So I'm going to hit on that. So this is going to be a new movie that I will be creating. Now, the videos, okay, so notice here on the left-hand side it has photos, events, and so on. So I'm going to take the photos right here. Let me remove this so you can still see me there in the corner. And let me adjust this out. Okay, so you'll see it like that. So I'm going to hit on the photos, and I'm going to be adding all of these different movies, okay, so that I had. So here was the first one, okay, that was the beginning as you were watching this video. So that's the first one. I'm going to kind of, in the settings, so right here, okay, that you see, I'm going to kind of change this up. And what I'm going to do is, okay, so now that I have this, so at the bottom here, it just selects it for you. So what I'm going to do, so here I'm going to hit this, I'm going to make it fit so that it fits the entire screen. All right, so that's the beginning for me. So that's going to be my first part. Okay, so that's the first one. Notice that it starts off, I don't really do anything, I kind of get ready, whatever. Okay, so here is, so now I'm going to be cutting this off. So I select this, okay, and I'm going to edit. So, we right click. I want to split this clip. I'm going to be splitting this up. And, this one, the beginning, I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, so that's kind of how we started this entire screen. And so now, okay, so what I like to do is kind of for the first little while, okay, I have, so if you remember, so I had this image of subscribe, which was on my desktop. So that was just an image. I'm going to actually drag it right in to iMovie in here so that, we have it. I'm going to pops it up on top and it extends it. So I'm going to put it for, let's say, 12 seconds. Okay, I'm going to select it. Now it's on top. It's blocking everything. So I don't want it to block. So I'm going to hit right here. Okay, notice it has these Ken Burns, crop fill, and so on. That's something that you can look up on your own. I typically just go, I want to just take my image entirely. Now here's the trick, okay, that you put video overlay. And here where it says cutaway, so I want to put it picture in picture. Okay, and notice that now it lays it on top of the picture that I had. So I can put it nicely here in the corner so that people can see it. If they maybe want to subscribe, maybe you'll subscribe. And get me closer to the 1 million journey. Okay, so that's how I basically put this in here in terms, and if you have any questions, you can ask it and put it in the comments. I'll try to follow up. And notice that it, you can do all kinds of funky things. It can start here, it can dissolve, you can put a border on it or no border. I just won't put anything there. So that's what we have within here. Okay, so that's, I started the video and you can see me. I'm scrolling through here and I'm talking and talking and talking and so on. All right. So that's what we have within here. And notice here I'm just showing, okay, because I'm going to be inputting something within here. So I'm going to be putting in an image. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you how to input that image right now because I'm talking about the 1 million journey, okay, which is the website that I have. So here I'm going to go, okay, right here. So this is 1 million journey. That's my site. And I'm going to just take an image, okay, because I want to be able to. So here's my website. Maybe you'll visit it. Okay, so here I want to just take. So I'm going to hit Shift Command 4 so I can take a little bit of a screenshot, okay, of this. All right, so let's say, we want to take it all the way up to here. Now it takes a picture. Okay, so notice that it takes a picture in here. So I just dragged it on the desktop. Okay, let me close this down. And now within iMovie, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it in. Now I just want to make sure, okay, where was I pointing to it? Okay, here I was pointing to that I'm going to be adding, I guess, a link somewhere there. But we'll do that in YouTube. Okay, when we load it in, I'll do that later. Okay, so here, let's see. Okay, so it was somewhere over here. All right, so I'm going to stop it here, okay, just so that I know where to drag this in. So I'm going to drag this in. All right, I'm going to extend this a little bit. Let's say we maybe don't need it that much, but for, let's say, 5 seconds or so. I'm going to do the same thing. Now, here I'm going to use the Ken Burns. So what I want to do is I'm going to go from, let's say, the bottom, and then here it's going to swing it to the top. Okay, so what's going to happen is, iMovie has this nice impact that it kind of goes from one to the other. And now I don't want it to do it for the whole screen. Okay, so I want to just do it within here. So let's maybe do that. So just when I'm pointing to it. Okay, so we'll do that right there. And let's see how that looks like. So I'm going to play. All right, and now as it's playing, I guess okay, so notice, yeah, so that's how it's going to look like. That's what exactly you're going to see, okay, in the actual video. Okay, so now let me pause it. So this might just give you some ideas on what to do. I'm not telling you to do this right away, but I just wanted to edit. Okay, so that was my first part. Okay, so here I just stopped it, it looks like. Okay, so let's end it here. I'm going to split this clip. So right click, split clip. Let's delete this. I don't want this anymore. And now I'm going to move over to now the second one. All right. So I guess this was the second video. And so here again, so what I'm going to do is split clip. Let's delete this out. And here in the titles, okay, so on top here, so I'm going to put go to titles, and I'm just going to put a little kind of title in here in between. I'm going to drag it in. Okay, it's going to put it in between here, and this is going to be step 2. All right, and that was software to use. I believe that's what we had there. Okay, so let's see. Software used. All right, let's maybe do that so that it's consistent. Software used. Okay, so that's step 2. Okay, so this is that. Okay, so this one, I don't know what this is. I'm going to delete that. So software used. Okay, so there you go. So that's step number 2. Okay, now I'm just talking about that step. Yeah, so the first one was just connecting it. Okay, here's the second one. So now I'm just editing this. All right, so now I want to go back in here and notice I'm going to fit the screen so that it's actually showing you the whole thing. You can go back there. All right. Okay, so here I'm just showing you all where all the software is. Okay, and now, so that's it. Okay, so let me stop it here. I'm going to split clip. All right, now all of this is just junk. Okay, because notice there's no audio there, so I'm just kind of noticing. So I split clip here, split clip here. I'm going to select this, I'm going to remove it. And now we're going into step 3. All right, so what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to copy this. So Command C, or you can just right click and copy it. I'm going to bring it in here, Command V. Okay, so this is now, I'm going to edit this. This is step 3. So this is going to be step 3. All right, so step 3 is displaying iPad and camera view. All right, so this is what we have. So setting up iPad and camera view. Okay, so that's that. So that's going to be step 3. And there we begin. Okay, so now I'm back, kind of showing you where all the camera, like how to use it all, okay, and all the funny stuff with Photo Booth that you can use. All right, now I'm not going to edit this entire video because it does take a little bit of time, but you can now kind of see how I bring in images in, how I split this entire thing up. All right, so so within here, okay, so that's what we have, and this is now, okay, so that step is done. I'm going to remove it, and now I go back to my videos, so my media. Now which one is going to be the next step? So that was step 4, so notice it's loaded. So I'm going to take this and drag it back in here, and we continue. So now you get a gist of that, how you can use iMovie to create a pretty neat video, this entire video that you are currently watching. All right, so I'm going to stop it there. If people are really interested in this whole editing process, you can put comments below. I can try to answer. I don't know everything about iMovie at all. This is kind of what I utilize to try to create the videos, and then editing and so on. You can input other media like audio. You can bring in music. Keep it simple. Again, this is just for teachers trying to get themselves started. All right, so I'll edit this entire video, and then once I have it edited, I'll come back and then I'll show you how to export it, okay, and then how I just simply post it to YouTube. All right, so we'll see you back. All right, so now we're at the point where I basically played around and edited the video. And I want to just show you now that it's kind of edited and kind of put in together, what do you do next? So when you're in iMovie, so let me kind of pop iMovie back up. Okay, so here's the video, okay, with all the different edits. Now we want to be able to, give it a title as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here over to projects. Okay, so I'm going to hit go back. Okay, and now it's going to ask you to name this video. Now, what do I name it? So I guess that this is what you're going to probably be searching on. So how to make a teaching video using iPad and a Mac. All right, so I don't know. I'll name it for that for now. Maybe I'll change it later. But okay, so this is just for the purposes to show you. So notice that the video now pops up over here. So this is the next one. So I'm going to select it, and then here with the 3 dots, what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to hit share project, and I want to share project using file. Now this is going to blow you away. Notice it says 6 gigs here. So whatever resolution you choose, you can do it. I typically, put it back to 720. And then in terms of compressing it, what I'm doing is I'm exporting this from iMovie just to make it a regular file. And then I want to just keep that file for myself so that I can store it somewhere. And then once I do that, now I'm going to say, compress, let's say better quality. And then I hit next. All right. And then you save it wherever it is that you want to save. So I'm still not going to save it because I have the last component that I want to show you. That's kind of uploading it back up. And so in order to do that, I'll show you how to actually input this into YouTube. Okay, and I'll take a different file and then just show you that so that you have the complete package. All right, so next, so how to post it to YouTube. All right, so see you in the next step. All right, so hi, we're towards the end here. And so basically now that you have your file, when you exported the file from iMovie, so I have it here, you see it there on the desktop just above, just where I'm speaking, okay? So that's the file that I'm gonna take, and we're gonna drop it into YouTube, all right? So if you go over to YouTube, and so now you have to be logged in. So if you're starting and you've never had a YouTube, then you're gonna have to try to set up your account. And then so over here you're gonna be creating, so there's a button over there. So I'm gonna hit, and we're gonna be uploading a video. So it's gonna take us to the upload page. And now when we upload, so within here you can select the file, you can drag it. So I typically just take my files and then drag them in here. So when you're dragging it in, it's going to start downloading this thing. I'm going to delete this one a little bit later on just so that I can update it. And then it gives you all details. So, whatever title you want to do, you can change this title to whatever you like, so on. You can put in a description within here. So I typically do descriptions. You'll see in the show notes exactly, if you hit show notes, that's what you see. You see the actual description. So I put a timestamp there as well, so that it's going to be step 1, step 2, and then I put in the times. So I'll put a little description here, and then I'll put steps. So for example, 00 will be introduction, just so that it puts a timestamp, and then whatever I can't. I'll do that a little bit later on. So this will be, let's say, step number 1, and then we'll give it a title and so on. So you can put these timestamps into it. You can put it into your playlists. So for me, I have numerous playlists, that I have. You can create them. This is probably going to be one of the teaching videos playlists. So I have somewhere in there, and you can add as many playlists as you like. Okay, I'm going to move that. Now you also have, so if you show more, so the content, if you want to make it for kids or not. So you have to be careful a little bit there. And then, within here, I don't have anything paid really within here, or sponsorships. I don't even have enough subscribers to be able to do any of that stuff. But anyways, so here in terms of tags, so you can add tags. So tags are just simply searchable items within YouTube. Okay, so how to create a video. It could be one tag, and you can add other tags that you like. And then finally, you can, once it's uploaded, you're going to be able to see that. You're going to hit next, and then you can go through the steps. So you can be adding these things. I'm not going to be showing you, all the different details of the YouTube. You can find that, or if you like, you can put things in the comments. If I get enough comments, I can make a little separate video. But there are quite a lot of amazing tools on how to import stuff into YouTube already. All right. So this takes us towards the end, so now we're pretty much kind of done. And I hope that you found this video useful. It gave you some ideas, something that you can create on your own. I didn't use anything really paid. I mean, yes, of course, if you're buying a Mac and an iPad, you paid more than enough. And but that it gives you an amazing set of tools so that you can really just create any videos that you want. All right. So I hope that you hit thumbs up if you got all the way up to here. That's amazing, and I hope that this video has helped you. All right. Okay. We'll see you in future videos. If you're gonna join in. Okay. Take care of yourself. Cheers. Bye.